Hi everyone. So today I'm going to be showing you a little bit about electrical. I'm going to show you the real basics of it, just extending a cord so that you have more length on it. I'm going to show you how to wire in a light switch, wire in a electrical plug-in, as well as I'm going to show you how to add in a second switch onto a circuit so that you can have, flip a light switch from two different parts of the room. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so to start off, you're going to need a couple of things. You're going to need your extra wire that you're going to be using. You're going to need some wire cutters, and then you're going to need some caps. I have a bunch of different ones. First, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to strip off the wiring, measure out how much wire you want to use, and then strip off the wiring. What I'm going to show, or what I'm actually doing, is this house is pretty old, and so not everything is grounded, but they did update some of the electrical, and so some of it is grounded. So I'm replacing a wire that has a ground fed to it, but it's just an old wire that doesn't have a ground in it. So I'm going to show that real quick. It's super simple and easy, but sometimes you just need to see stuff to have the confidence to do it yourself. So first, let's strip off I need to measure this out, how long I need it, and then I need to strip off the end. So I'll show you that real quick. Okay, so if at this point you haven't already, but you need to turn off the power at the breaker, just flip the switch so that you don't run the risk of getting electrocuted. So what I'm going to be using today is the 14x2. You can get 12x2, but it's just a thicker gauge for when you're running more power through it. I'm just running a light switch, so the 14x2 is good. So what you want to do is you want to strip off the end here, and you can either take a knife, or I like to take the wire cutters and clip, and then just kind of clip it all the way down. You're going to need to clip that off, and then you're going to need to strip off the rubber off of the white and black here. So you'll want to strip off probably about 3/4 of an inch to an inch of the rubber off of the wire there. So you have your neutral, your power, and then you have your ground here. It's just the plain copper one. So to strip the rubber off, you'll just take some, I usually use some wire cutters. You can get some wire strippers, and you end up just pinching it kind of around, all the way around, and then you grab on. I mean, don't cut it. You're not cutting the wire. You're just pinching down on it, and then you're pulling straight up. Every once in a while, you'll end up cutting it. So then just, start over and start lower and get that rubber off. So what I've done now is I've gone up into the attic, found the wire that I want to replace. I can see where it runs all the way over there. That's the one I want to replace with the yellow cap. So what I did was I disconnected it, and I'm going to pull it out so we can put in our new one. This also gives me a good opportunity to measure it to see the length that we're going to need, so I can cut that next. So since I have the cord that I'm replacing out, you can see it's only a two-prong. It doesn't have a ground in there. But where it was wired into, it actually has a ground, so there's no reason not to have this grounded. Especially since it's in a kitchen, you run the risk of water getting on it, and then short-circuiting and ruining some of your appliances or shocking you. So now I have that. I'm going to measure out the proper length and cut it, and then strip the ends again. So that I can replace it, and it'll have a ground now. So, before I go up and reconnect this line back into the box that I just connected that other one from, I wanted to show you that since I'm not currently, I'm going to have to get back to it at another day, going to be connecting the light to it. I wanted to cap it off. You just need to cap the white and the black. The ground doesn't actually have power going through it. That's just a safety measure that if the circuit gets overloaded, it goes into the ground, onto the ground wire, instead of ruining your electronics. So I'm capping those so that they don't cross, because unfortunately, since it's an old house, it's all wired goofy, and the power that goes to over my sink also powers the furnace for our downstairs tenant. So I have to have that breaker on, but I don't want to blow the fuse or anything, so you cap these so that you don't run a risk of electricity getting a shock or anything like that. So next I'm going to reconnect these in, and I'll show you that in just a sec. So I came back up to the box that I originally moved that wire from. I added a second wire because I'm going to be running a garbage disposal to that same light, or to right next to that light switch. So I just added a second one in there for the garbage disposal power. So it's pretty simple. You connect the white to the white, all of the bare copper, which is the ground, all together, and then all of the black together. Originally, this was all taped up with electrical tape, which you can do. It's just so much simpler to use these caps, so I'd highly recommend getting these. So what you do is you grab all of them, twist them together, and then you screw one of these caps on. So I'll show you that in just a sec. So, as you can see here, I have the ground and then the black capped. The white one, that's all I did to the other two, was I screwed them all together, tightened them. I ended up using some needle nose pliers to get them really tight. And then you use a cap, and you make sure when you screw it on, you can feel it. It's just like a wing nut going on for some of them. And you can feel it actually screwing on, and just make sure it doesn't come off, and make sure all those wires are tight in there so that they don't come disconnected and then cross. So that's pretty much it to reconnect in a new wire. Go ahead, and if you're ready, you can turn the breaker on. Just make sure that you either have everything connected properly or that you have the end capped, and make sure that none of the wires cross. Make sure it doesn't spark or blow the fuse or anything on you. Okay, so next I want to show you how I'm going to wire in an extra outlet. So what I'm going to do, and I'm just really lucky with my layout, hopefully you have something similar, is I'm going to cut into here, put in an outlet box here, and then on the other side of this wall I actually have my bathroom. So I'm just going to wire into the electrical there. I'll show you that in just a sec. Alright, so here's up in the attic, that wall that I was showing you. So I removed all of the insulation here. So you can kind of see that blue box down there. That's the electrical right here already going down. So I'm just going to cut into this side closest to me. And then I'll send all the wiring through, and I'll show you that in just a sec too. Okay, so you also need to decide where you want to put your new receptacle. So I just bought this cheap box. Sometimes you can get these at Walmart. I couldn't find the kind with the nails. I found the other kind with the new ones are with the screw that screw into the drywall. I don't think those are super sturdy. I've used the nail ones before, so that's why I bought this. I think I got it at Ace. So anyways, decide what height you want. The typical height is anywhere from 12 to 16 inches from the base of it, from the floor up. So measure where you want that. You can do it a little lower. It's up to you. It really depends upon what baseboards you're going to put in as well, or which ones you already have in. So go ahead and cut a hole into your drywall so that you can nail this in. I might need to widen this so I can actually get a good swing on my hammer. Okay, so I went to the bathroom, cut the power. Be sure that you do that before you mess around with any of this. Pulled the outlets out. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up one of these, and I'm able to feed my new wire through down to the new outlet, and I'll show you in just a sec how to wire all of it into here so that you get power to that other outlet. So this is how you wire in the receptacle. Basically, this is the end receptacle, the one that I'm adding on. So you have your white one, goes up top here. Your black one goes up top, and then the copper or ground is super easy. You just find the green screw. That's kind of greenish. Your ground or copper one always goes to that. So I'll show you on the other end how to wire it into your already existing receptacle. Okay, so wiring onto the receptacle that already has power is pretty easy. If you only have one receptacle, what you do, so you can see my power source coming in here, make sure that your, well, it depends upon a couple things. So since I have a 3 series, it's a little different if you're only doing 2. If your top ones, you screw them into the top, black is always on the right, white is on the left. Of course, your ground is always pretty easy to find. So anyways, you screw them into the top, and then you have your 2 bottom ones that connect in, and then those will go to the top of your next receptacle. So that's why on my receptacle on the other side of the wall here, they go to the top, because this second receptacle in the power line gets its power on the bottom too here, if that makes sense. And then the top here will go to the top. So pretty much you have your power come in, goes to the top, and then your next set out from the bottom, power goes to the top of the next one. And so just in series, and that's how it goes. Then you make sure that you connect all of your ground wires here to make sure that everything's grounded. So then go ahead and connect all that, put it all back together, turn on your breaker, see if it has power, make sure that you don't blow a fuse or anything, that they all work, and that no one gets shocked or anything. So go through and test each plug. Mine are working properly. And be sure that when you label your breaker, now that you know, since this is in a completely different room from the other one that for the bathroom that I had labeled, I'll need to add this on there just so that any future owners of the home know what outlet is on what breaker. So next I wanted to show you how to wire a two-way switch that just has, your power in, and then it either goes to a light. In my case, it's going to a power outlet for my garbage disposal. So to start off, you have your power inlet come in. You're going to connect your two white wires from the inlet to, the light or the outlet or wherever this wire is going out to from the switch. Next, you're going to need an extra little piece of copper wire. So that you can connect all of the grounds together like that and connect it into the switch. And then you're going to take the power inlet, typically goes to the bottom of the light switch here. Make sure that you have this right side up. That's on, this is off. Can't really see it because of the light, but anyways, the power in goes to the bottom, and then the power to the light or to the outlet is going to go out the top here. So go ahead and screw those in. So for my switch, like I said, it's going to an outlet down here, so I can put in a garbage disposal. So I highly recommend one of these boxes. Luckily, I get to reuse mine. So to get started, basically for me, I'm going to drill this back plate into where you want it, somewhere close enough so that the electrical plug from the garbage disposal can plug right in real easily. So for these boxes that sit on the outside, first you get that first screw in there on the right, as you can kind of see, to screw it into the wood. And then this box screws on with these top right screw and bottom right screw. It's pretty simple from there. Next you just put the plug in and put the faceplate on with these screws here. And then that screw for the faceplate. So you're going to connect your ground, to your bottom green one usually. Your black one for this one is going to go on the right. And then the white one is going to go on the left, and you just screw it in, and that should provide power. And for me, because I have this light switch up here for my garbage disposal, it'll provide power down here when I have that light switch on. So that's the finished product. From here, you just turn back on your breaker, plug something in, whether it's your garbage disposal or some other electronic, just so you can test it, and flip the switch and make sure it works properly. So the next thing I'm going to show you is how to wire a three-way light switch. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to have a switch here that turns on my light that's going to go here in my recessed ceiling. And then it's going to have another switch over there, and both switches will turn it on and off. So the first thing you need to do is there's a couple of options. First, you need to either have a four cord electrical wire. But I don't have that, and I couldn't find it at my local hardware store. I don't have a Home Depot in town, so. But anyways, so see, I have a 3. So what I'm going to have to do is, normally you can find a 4. It's a white, black, and then a copper, and then you get a red as well, electrical wire. But what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to use one of these. I'm just going to cut this open. I'm trying to do it for 2 different places. I'm going to have 2 three-way switches going on. So a total of 4 switches going to 2 different lights. So I'm going to have one here, going to this light, a switch here, I have another switch here that's going to go to a light over the sink here. It's going to go up there, and I want another switch right here next to my garbage disposal switch. So I'm going to be using this white and black wire. So I measured out how long I'm going to need to go from here to my power source that's just above up here in the attic, and then down to here. And I'm going to strip off this rubber coating. I'm probably going to use the black wire, and I'm just going to label it as my red wire. So I've stripped the insulation back here, and then stripped back the rubber on these wires so that I can connect them to the switch. Something I didn't mention about installing these boxes, they have little tabs here. That's supposed to go against the stud. In my case, so that's probably what you'll end up doing, but in my case, I'm leaving this stuff on and putting drywall over it. Just be a lot easier with all this gunk on it. Create more insulation for me as well, because it's pretty cold here. So anyways, you just line that up against it where you want it, and then hammer those nails in. Okay, so to wire a three-way switch, what you need to do is you need to label the white one black, and then if you have a red one, good. If not, label whatever wire you're using, label it as red, just so that any future workers on this three-way switch will know what's what. Okay, so I connected it into this box here from over there. I'll show you in a sec how you connect the wires from here to the wires from there, all to the light switch up there. I'll show that in a sec. Anyways, so I have this wired. Like I said, I have it labeled red on this side, since I'm just using this as a red wire. So for that, I never actually had to cut it, because I had the wire long enough. It basically just has to connect to this switch here, to that one over there. So if you need to, you can connect, if your wires are cut, you can connect them. I just ran it straight all the way through. I did the same thing. I'm doing another switch here for a light over the sink. So I have this wired here set up for that. I use that white wire as I was talking about for this one. And it just runs through the ceiling and comes out here. And I'll have a box set up there in just a bit. So this is the last part to wiring a three-way switch. So you have your power inlet that comes in, and it's actually this one right here for me. So it comes in, you're going to connect your black wire from the power inlet to one of the black wires to one of your switches. Next, you're going to connect the white wire from your power inlet to the light that you want to be powered. So connect that directly to that white of the power light. The grounds are pretty easy. All three grounds from all three wires coming in from both switches and the power wire, and the ground to the light fixture all connect into one. That one's pretty easy. And then the white wires that come in from your two switches, if you remember, we marked those both with black tape when we were putting the switch on. Mark both of those with black tape as well, and then those connect together. And so that's pretty much it for wiring a three-way switch. I did it so that when the power line comes to the light switch, and then I wire it from there. You can wire it a couple of different ways. This is just the way I did it. So once you have those wired how you want and capped like that, go ahead and shove these back up in there, and then you'll usually have some type of bar here that connects into your box here and screws in like I already did there. So go ahead and connect all that in real quick. So, hang your light up, connect it how it says on the manufacturer instructions. Mine are just these two bolts on both sides. And then I need to tighten that in to make sure that it's stable. So as you're connecting it, make sure that none of the wires come loose. I spent a good portion of my day yesterday because one of the wires came loose, trying to figure out what I had done wrong, but just one of the wires came loose. Once you have it all that, turn your breaker back on and go ahead and test your switches. Make sure that they work like that. And then we'll make sure that this one over here works as well to turn it both off and on, which is super nice. So now, from both entries to my kitchen, I can turn the light on. So that's how you wire a three-way switch, along with all the other electrical that we did. So anyways, hopefully this was helpful for you, and thanks for watching.